So that's why we don't have to scribble notes all day. We can actually just record them and automatically then generate the information from that. So Derek, if you're ready to rock and roll, let's go.
Okay, let's just check. Yeah, are you hearing me okay?
Yes.
Good. Well, talking about AI always sounds kind of technical and puzzling. And I'm going to show you today that pretty much it's more or less like using Word document or something like that. And the analogy I came up with for folks who might be bothered by this is, you give your kid or grandchild a camera and they don't know what to do with it and they play with it. And the more they play with it, the easier it gets, the better their photographs get. Well, the same is absolutely true of anything to do with AI. AI isn't magic. The more I've played with it, the better I've got. I'm self-taught. I don't call myself an expert, but I've been playing with it long enough. I can do quite a few things with it. So let me pull up my presentation. So let's see this. And let's make it full screen. Okay, I hope everybody can see this, right?
Yes, you can see
Yes.
it.
Great. So the specific topic is using a smartphone and a product called Gemini Notebook to produce meeting minutes. And when I say meeting minutes, as John just alluded to, it's not just meeting minutes. You can do a hell of a lot of different things with just Gemini Notebook. And I'll gloss over most of them, but I'll show you some of the things we can do. When you start looking at AIs, you're going to find this quite a choice. And these are the five I use mostly. But for this purpose, here I've given you the URLs of each of them, and you can get in and use them all for free, by the way. All you need to do is go, for example, here, notebook.google.com or chatgpt.com. And sometimes they say sign in and create an account. Sometimes you can just do it anonymously. But today we're going to talk about Notebook. And I'm going to mention Claude because I find it extremely useful. Just jumping ahead in a sense, the output from Notebook is a little bit rough sometimes. It's not pretty. So if you really want to pretty stuff up, Claude is an excellent product for rewriting and reformatting stuff that looks pretty horrible. So that's what I use, and I'll show you some examples later on. So what are we going to cover today? Well, I don't know how long you take as a secretary to create minutes. I was state secretary for 2 years, and a state board meeting is often 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And I ended up with a ton of notes, and I was wishing there was an easier way to do it. So eventually, when AI came along, I said, I think AI might manage to do it. And I did manage to jury rig a system that worked. But 2 years later, 2.5 years later, AI has improved. Everything about AI has got better. And it's now much easier and pretty darn simple to take a recording of a meeting and then get I'm not going to say a transcript because I don't use transcripts anymore. I don't print anything out. But it's pretty easy to get something that from which you can ask a lot of questions. And I'll go through that in a minute. The workflow, there's a very simple workflow, just 5 steps. Not complicated. I've just broken it down into very discrete chunks. the most techie word I'm going to use is the word prompt. And that's the word that the AI geeks use when they say, I want to ask a question of my AI. You prompt it. So you'll see that if you look around and do any research on AI product, it'll say writing prompts, or some of the people on YouTube, for example, will say, here's 200 prompts to help you do better work. Don't believe it, by the way. For what we're going to do, we only need one or two, and they're very simple. Then up here, what is Gemini? I'll explain what a grounded AI notebook means. It's not a chatbot, by the way. So you can't just go in and ask casual questions like you can from ChatGPT and Claude. I'm going to do a live demo. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, because you all know what it's like when you decide to do a demo live. It can cause problems. And, oops, sorry. A first assignment. I've got a first assignment for you all. Okay, so let's keep going. I always found minutes took hours, and that's not necessary anymore. The old way, you can mostly, and I've put mostly in parentheses, forget the handwritten stuff. What I do find handwritten sometimes useful is who made the motion, who seconded it, and what was the motion. One of the things we're going to talk about is what could be one of the problems doing this. And if you've got a noisy meeting, you know how hard it is to listen if 2 or 3 people are talking over each other. Well, the recording is going to have the same problem, and the AI is going to have the same problem. So an orderly meeting makes for better recordings. Just mentioning that. So what I would do, frankly, is if somebody has made a motion, have them repeat their name, because sometimes 2 or 3 people go to make the motions, several people second it, and then it's tough to figure out sometimes who's doing what. And the other thing I do is I ask the whoever's running the meeting to repeat the motion that is being voted on, so it comes over clearly. But that's just detail. We'll come back to that. With the workflow I'm going to show you, you can actually get something reasonable out in less than 30 minutes. When we start doing it, it might take you longer. As you get better, you'll be quicker. And all you need is a phone, like I've said already, a smartphone. Nothing about the meeting has to change. It carries on just the same way. Your role, in a sense, though, changes. You become an editor. You're not the person taking the notes and spending all the time writing. I've always found if I'm taking notes and writing, I can't follow literally what's going on in the meeting. I can't work within the meeting itself. So one of the benefits of using this system is once you trust your smartphone, you've got to build up that trust. Once you've got that trust and you know you're getting a good recording, you can actually listen and you can work in the meeting. You can be a participant instead of a listener. Okay. So what is Gemini Notebook? It was an experimental product with Google initially, and you had to be on a list of approved people to play with it. Luckily, I got onto that. Sorry, one thing I'll say as I go along. Yesterday, I started to get a nasty voice and throat thing, and luckily it's died off a bit overnight, but I'm still feeling kind of coffee. So I'm going to have an occasional drink if I get dry. I think I can last an hour without any problem, and we'll probably get less than that, need less than that. So Gemini Notebook until last week was called Notebook LM. And just before that, Google started to combine the regular Gemini AI with Notebook, and then they renamed it Gemini Notebook. And now you've got a lot of things coming together. If you use Google Docs and Gemini Notebook and Gemini all work together as a group. And if you use Google Docs, for example, as your word processor, you can go straight from Gemini Notebook. You can save stuff directly into the sheet. Google Doc. If you get a spreadsheet type answer, you can shove that into the Google equivalent of Excel. An important thing is it's a notebook. It's there not to go out onto the onto the internet and do searches. It's not there to answer casual questions. It's like a research, and a research assistant. It's only read the documentation that you give it. And the documents you give it are called sources. And you'll see how that works in a minute. So if you're doing a recording of a BEC meeting or some other meeting, you've recorded an audio, you've provided the audio file into the notebook as a source. That's the only source it's going to use when you ask questions. So it's quite private. That's the good thing about it. And your recordings stay in the Google account, your Google account, and nothing is published or shared unless you choose to share it. So it's got a bit of privacy about it. Now, here we come to the 5 steps I talked about. Excuse me. First of all, we need to do a recording, and that's pretty trivial. I've only got my old phone is a Samsung S10, so it's years old. It works perfectly. And what I do is, for the meetings I want to record, I just click on the start recording button. I put it down on a desk somewhere so it can, preferably in the middle of the meeting somewhere, so it can pick up people's voices, and just leave it. At the end of the meeting, click finish. I'm going to bring up an example in a minute. If any of you downloaded audio file 1 and 2 from the state website, I was at a CPR training session, and we had some of those plastic dummies where we were practicing doing the compressions and so on. So there was a bit of talk from the speaker, then action by us, then more talk and more action and so on. So it swung backwards and forwards. So each time there was a lot of action, of course, there was a hell of a noisy room. So I turned off the recorder. Then I turned it back on again when he started speaking. So I ended up with like 4 or 5 different audio files. And what I did, I uploaded all of those files into my notebook. And then I created my summary notes by looking at all 5 of them. Well, I've given you 2 of them, and I'll show you how it works later on. Okay, so we upload audio file into the notebook where it becomes the source you're going to use. When I show you the actual screen with notebook there, you'll see some of my sources have got some of the notebooks have only 1 or 2 files, and I've got one with 20 something, 25 maybe files in there as sources. And I can select which ones I want to use. So you can be very specific. And I'll show you the value of that. Once you've got the audio file in, now you have the fun part. You're going to find a prompt. You type in a prompt. It might be, you say, I am providing you, oh, excuse me. This voice is bad today. You might say, take these, this source or sources and create the minutes of the meeting. I sometimes also add the phrase, you are a professional board level secretary. I want you to produce formal minutes of this meeting. You can put the prompt in lots of different ways, and I'll show you some examples. If you don't like what you got out, you delete it. You just put a different prompt in. If you have a different question, you just ask another question and you carry on until you're ready. Okay. Having got some output, check the draft for accuracy. I'm going to repeat this several times. The output I get from any AI, I regard as an initial draft. I would never, ever take a first draft and publish it and circulate it to anybody. The reason is AIs can make mistakes. I mentioned before, what happens if there's a lot of noise? What happens if, for example, 3 or 4 people are talking on one side of the microphone that's recording, and the presenter or whatever is on the other side? You've got a cacophony of noise. The AI can't sort that out, but it does its best. So I always check for accuracy. And by the way, it doesn't always spell correctly, especially people's names. So always check people's names. There's nothing worse than seeing the minutes of the meeting and somebody has screwed your name up. So that's going to be the standard warning. Always check for accuracy. Read it. We're going to output it into a Word document or something else. It's totally editable. Within Notebook itself, you don't edit the output. You take the output and do the editing somewhere else. And then finally, we come to the polish the minutes and circulate bit. And of course, that gives you the piece of stuff that you're proud of. My note here to myself, the audio file is important, and there's just sort of one thing you should remember about what you want. And this sounds techie, but it isn't. There are 3 formats in general that audio files come in. And if anybody's done any recording for bands or music or anything else, you'll know more about it than me. But the 2 that I have used have been MP3 and M4A. And that's the bit at the end. You know how you have a thing like, let's say we're doing the minutes of a meeting. So you have minutes.docx, or you've done a Excel spreadsheet. It's .xlsx. Well, if I've done a recording, I want .mp3 or .m4a. I advise against going .wav, wave. Wave is actually, sorry, this thing of mine is a little sensitive this morning. The WAV file apparently has the highest fidelity, records the most. And when you say things like it's got a lot more information in it, it means it's a big file. I did accidentally record a meeting one time in WAV, and it came out at about 700 megabytes. That's a big file. And it's almost impossible to share with people. What I did was converted it down to an M4A. No, I converted it to MP3, and it was about 60 megabytes, which is still a fairly big file, but it's much easier to share and work with. So WAV is, as they say here, uncompressed, and it can be 10 times bigger than your MP3 file. Luckily, most phone recorder apps default to the MP3, but it's worthwhile checking, because the first time I tried it, I didn't check. I didn't realize the difference, and I ended up with the WAV file. What I do if I'm trying a new recorder app is I make a short recording, just me talking for 10 seconds, stop, and then listen back and export it, for example, onto something else, onto my computer. And then I look and see what the format is. And if it's MP3 or M4A, great, because I can take those two with no problem, dump them into Notebook as my source. Okay. Because it's compressed, it's, as I said, it's a much smaller file, but it's good enough quality. It's fine. I've tried it in different rooms and under different meeting conditions. Not a problem. So at the end of today's meeting, I'm going to take an audio recording of this meeting and convert it to some notes. Am I recording it on my smartphone? No. Why? Because at the beginning of the meeting, you may have heard it saying, this meeting is being recorded. So as a Zoom recording, I can get the video of the meeting, I can get the audio of the meeting, or I can get a transcript of the meeting. I ignore the transcript. It doesn't do enough good for me putting it into Notebook. I prefer audio. I take the M4A, which is the way Zoom does it, and I just bring it into Notebook, and then I carry on. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those two audio files I talked about earlier. Sorry, I've put up on the website. If any of you have downloaded them, that's the pair I'm going to use. I'm going to upload the recording into a new notebook so you can see the whole process. Then I'm going to try some simple prompts. The professional board secretary, create formal minutes of this meeting, would be good for doing the minutes of your BEC. It's the sort of thing I say at the end of a board meeting. You can ask a question like, what were the main topics that were discussed? What were the decisions? Who's responsible for making them happen? What's the timeline? And so on. And then at the end, of course, I'm going to say, repeat this because it's so important. Review the draft before you publish it. So let me stop there for a second. Okay. That gives me a chance to have a... it's better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is bring up, where is it? Looks like I'm going to go here. Right. So 1 second while I get out of here. Now, bringing up a live thing is just a little more tricky. And now here we are. That's the one I want. Okay.
Derek,
This is,
we do have a question from Michael. He says,
yes, Michael. Sorry, I can't see any hands with my
it's
screen
John.
still.
John,
Yeah, John.
okay, we have a question here. Michael asked, do you need a recorder app or is it just part of the Samsung phone itself? Do you need to?
Yeah, all the phones have a recorder app on them. I've forgotten which one I use. Let's have a look. Well, I'll do that at the end. You can also use an iPad. I've tried that. It works. Yeah, all the phones come with a recorder, and usually they'll be defaulting to the MP3 file. So you should be good. If not, go to the shopping app and sorry, my earpiece fell out. Go to the shopping app and pick one. Okay, so here we have what it looks like, a Gemini notebook. This is the actual product. You'll see, for example, I've got BAC meetings. I've got 25 different sources in there. For the CPR training, that I'm going to use 2 of their files, I've got 5 sources. So if I click on BAC meetings, for example, the screen changes. And for using Gemini, there are 3 areas I want to talk about: the left-hand side, the middle, and over on the right. On the left-hand side is a list of all the sources I've added. And notice up here, there's a little check mark against select all. So if I unselect, I'm not going to be looking at any of those sources.
That's fine.
If I just want to look at, for example, the July BAC meeting, I click it. If I click on it there, it'll give some sort of summary of what it's all about. Over here on the right-hand side.
We'll see. Look, I want it to be at least below an 8. I mean, even when it's down to 0, you've still got another 30, 40 miles. Don't worry about it.
Can we have everybody
Make it go
mute?
real low because I want to have the editor
Yeah.
work.
Could anybody who's having a chat please just
Look,
turn their noise off?
yeah, I understand. I understand. I'm glad you checked too. Yeah.
Hey,
Paul,
Paul, we need
talking to
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, I've muted Paul.
Okay.
Luckily, it's something I can do. So you've got all sorts of stuff here. And I'm going to generate it. You see how this happens. Over on the right-hand side in what they call Studio, this is where the magic happens, because I can put my prompt down here at the bottom. It's hard to see. Can you see that little rectangle at the bottom now?
Yeah.
That's where we type. That's where we type our prompt. Now, we're not restricted to just typing a prompt here. Over on the top, over on the right-hand side, there's a whole lot of pre-programmed things that it will do. I'll not go into them yet, but you've got a lot of choices. So the first thing is, if you're doing a chat down in the bottom, that's where you're prompting. And these are sort of automated and they give you a ton of different things. I'll give you some examples later. So let me go back. To go back to where you want to be, you go to the top left-hand side. See that funny shape, that icon? If you click on it, you come back to the open, the screen. So I'm going to create a new notebook. This is what you're going to do when you start to create your minutes. So it says create, and the important thing is add sources. So I'm going to click on add sources. I don't know if it'll show you, but I'm going to go to my file finder. And I'm going to go to local. I'm using a Mac Mini, by the way. So some of the things will look different if you're on a Windows machine. Are you able to see what I'm doing, or is it still the same screen?
We can't see it.
Okay, well, I'll bring it up. I've gone to test audio files. I've selected 2 files, and I'm going to drag them over. So did you see those? Do you see those appearing on the left-hand side?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what I've done is I've added the 2 files. One of them's, 28 megabytes. The other's only 4 or 5. So it's fairly quick, and you have to just sit there and wait while it does it. It's usually pretty quick. Now, when I've got them in, that's the smallest one. So that's come up first, and you see the check mark against it. Notebook reads roughly what it is. So it's my title for this lot was The Fundamentals of Community Hands-Only CPR. This was a CPR training run in Walnut Creek, put on by Branch 146. And we had the head of the EMS come along and demonstrate that we had nearly, what was it? It was 28, probably 28 or 30 people there. Not all SIRS. A couple of other community groups were invited. It was fundamentally a SIR thing, but they always invite other people in. They've done this. This was the 8th time they've run this sequence. And if anybody's interested, if you contact your local fire people, they probably have a resource like this. And it's a fascinating program. This one took 2 hours. So, okay. And it's valuable because now if somebody had fallen on the street and they were in heart attack mode, I would know what to do CPR. It's actually pretty simple. It's a bit cruel at first because you have to press down on the chest really, really hard. And apparently you break ribs and things. And we said, wow, do we really want to go around breaking people's ribs? And what's the option? You break ribs or they die. It's an easy choice. Okay, so I'm going to put in a question.
Eric, I have a question.
Yes?
Did you title this the title that we saw there a minute ago on this document? Did you title it, or did Gemini provide the title?
I titled it.
Okay.
And it's real. I'll show you in a moment. It's real easy to do.
Very well.
Yeah. The guy taught us about the 4 C's. So I'm going to type in what are the 4 C's. And that's notice a spelling error. These AIs are pretty smart. They ignore spelling errors. They automatically correct it. Now it's going through some stuff. Oh, that was fairly quick, wasn't it? So there are 3 C's of performing the community hands only rather than 4. The 4th one it's referring to is the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. That is not recommended anymore, apparently. The most important thing to do is chest compression. So first of all, check the scene. So you're getting a summary of the whole meeting here. Check the scene. One of the things I read about, I think, again, it was from Branch 146. they had a cycling group and they were out cycling. This guy stopped because he had a bit of acid reflux. It was common. He didn't worry about it. He told the others, carry on pedaling, I'll catch up. Well, as he sort of stood there on his bicycle balancing, and they had gone up the road, he fell over, collapsed on the road with a heart attack. Now, luckily for him, there were two guys walking past. They saw him go down. They rushed over to him and did CPR. And one of them called the 911. Luckily, the fire station was only half a mile away. The EMS people arrived very quickly, did the professional CPR, got him to hospital. He was in hospital in intensive care for something like a week, and then he came out. Now, he was lucky, because the folks who were walking by knew CPR. Number two, they did the CPR, but most importantly, they knew what to do. First, they checked the scene, making sure that, there were no cars going to drive by and hit them if they were working in the street. The second thing that you must do is call 911 straight away. If there's enough people around, go and tell one of them to go find an AED.
I'm sorry, this is not important to the topic.
You're right.
Right.
Getting off track.
Yeah, thanks. I get so carried away with that CPR stuff.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, maybe the cough's affecting my brain as well. Okay, so you've put in your sources. You can get extracts. So I've already, let me go back. If I click on that icon and I come back to the fundamentals and I come over here on this side and I click on Studio, and if I scroll up, sorry, let me do this. It was this one I wanted to show you. Over here on the right-hand side, I've already got some stuff that I've created. Let me show you this. It's kind of interesting. It's an infographic I got from that same data. Save a Life, the hands-only checklist, and it created that video, that visual for me very quickly. If I show you this one, this is fun. This is something else you can do. It will actually create a video for you. But I'm not getting the noise. It's a video with voice over from the from Notebook. So from one source or several sources, these were the 5 sources I put in, you can get all sorts of outputs. So if I come back here, did I show you my BAC? Yes, I showed you this one already. I've got 20 odd sources. Now, with this sort of thing, I can say what topics came up most regularly in any of these meetings. And again, you can use, say, select all or unselect all. You can pick one meeting or you can pick several meetings. And you can do that with the number of sources that you put in. Okay, now let's see. Ooh, pardon me. So we've created a new notebook. You've seen how I can output different things. So let me go back to my PowerPoint.
Quick question.
Question, yes. Go
How
ahead.
how did you create that stuff that was in the studio?
Okay, let me go back. Where was I? It's a great question because I kind of jumped ahead, didn't I? So let me take, I'll go back to the CPR. I'll not select everything. I'll just take the very small one. So here was the brief summary of what was included in the 2 selected sources I gave you. And it's called the 3 C's, and you saw all that. Down at the bottom here, it says save to a note. That I should have pointed that out, so thank you for your question. When you save to a note, notice it came up and said it was creating a note. Then if I click on it there, this is a duplicate of what was over here. But now we can do different things with it. The most important thing is when you've got well, 2 things. If you've created something that's really useful as a summary, you can come back and say, convert it to a source, and it will convert it and put it back over here as a new source. So you can ask other questions. The best thing to do with this here is, let's see, which is the best way to show you. There's more than one way to do all these things. Where it said save to note, there's also a copy. You see this?
Yes.
Okay. When you click on that, you make a copy of the text. And then what I do with that is I'll put it into Word, for example. But for this demo, I'm going to put it into something Apple calls Notes. Oh, pardon me. And because it's a copy, it's the exact copy. And then I can work on it. And what I tend to do is I put it into something called Claude and say, here are some notes, polish it, create the minutes in my standard manner. And what I've got is a template that controls the layout and the colors and the font. So I get the same result every time. So I'll show you typical output I get by doing that. And it's but to find one here. I've got a ton of these things hanging around. It's okay. Let me just bring this one up. Got a lot of different things to share. And it's this one. Yeah. Sorry, I should have brought that up before. And what I do, can you see this BEC minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the sort of output. I copied it by clicking that copy symbol. And then I put it into Claude, and using my standard template, I said, create, produce me the notes of the meeting in my standard format. And it does this whole thing. So this is something I'm going to provide, by the way. It'll be on the state website when we finish. It's a prompt and step-by-step guide in case you need it. So it says, record the meeting, transfer the file, upload, run the prompt, and verify and copy. And I say copy to Word, but you can put it into whatever you like. Using that copy icon, I copied this from a summary of the. This is actually a summary of the PowerPoint. I put that into Claude and said summarize the PowerPoint, and this is what it came up with for me. And it put in the step 1 and step 2 in red. It put the line across. If I wanted to, I could have told it to put the Sir logo up top left and so on. So this is how the output comes out. Now, I showed you a very simple prompt earlier, but what I've done is I've used the AI itself to create for me a very detailed prompt. And because this is on the website, you'll have exactly the same source, and you can put it into your prompt when you ask for the machine or the AI to do it for you. And like I said earlier, the best thing when you make prompts is tell the AI what it's got to, what sort of person it is, if it was a real person. So a highly meticulous professional secretary. Input, only use the attached meeting audio transcript. And just to be safe, don't use any outside knowledge. Don't make up any details. Write a comprehensive draft. Here's the header. This is how I want the attendance and quorum to look. Call to order. And then officers' reports. This tells it in great detail how to lay out the minutes of the meeting. So every time it will be in the same manner. So month after month, your minutes look very similar. Adjournment, tone and style. You can do this. These AIs are very flexible. You tell them what you want. So I've said, write in a highly formal, objective, third-person executive tone. Now, if you want to change that, you could say, write in a friendly, first-person tone. And the meeting minutes would look totally different. It's your choice. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me stop sharing there. And let me come back to this. Where's it gone? For some reason, I've lost my PowerPoint. Oh, there it is. Do you see the PowerPoint?
Actually,
Pardon?
No.
Okay. Then let me do this. I think this might be it. Now you see that, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. It's always nice to know what's at the other end. This is where we just were at live demo. So let me bring that up to full screen. Okay, so the prompt is the product. So by having a well-built prompt, you don't have to use that very complicated one. You can just say, create the minutes of the meeting, and it may look different every time. But if you want it to be very consistent, you take that complex prompt and you'll get the same thing every time with all the items. Now,
We aren't seeing we're not seeing your PowerPoint.
no, at
Oh.
all.
We're
Jeepers.
seeing we see a list of 2 MP3 files.
Oh, okay. Let me get out of there then. for some reason, let's see. No, you're seeing that. That's not the right one. Anyway, I'll continue and I'll just talk it through instead of showing you because we're right at the end anyway. So this same workflow goes way beyond just having minutes. For example, you can do a summary. If you've got a BEC meeting and you want to say, I just want to see the notes about our discussion on whatever the topic was, you just put that in as the prompt and that's what you get out. The first output, as I've said several times, is a starting point. I never use the first draft as the final thing that I send out. You read it and you edit it. And what I normally do is send it to somebody else to read and check. Because what I find is when I read something that I've been working on several times, if there's an error, my eyes know what's supposed to be there and they don't see the error. So if it's important, what I do is I have somebody else read it for me and I say, okay, let me know if it's bad stuff. So I recommend that as a technique if you want to be very cautious. So the first assignment for everybody, if you're going to get interested in doing this, first of all, check your phone's recorder settings. And the way I do it, I think I mentioned already, do a brief recording to yourself and put that output, take that audio file and put it into the notebook. Try various prompts, see what comes out, then record your next BEC meeting or whatever it is. And for the first time, my advice would be, okay, you've got your phone doing the recording, but in case something goes wrong, do some notes, manual notes, just in case. Then take the audio, put it into the notebook, make the minutes of the meeting in notebook and compare with your notes. Make sure the two are congruent. And that should give you some confidence that the recorder and the notebook and the prompt are giving you what you want. And that's actually the end of the presentation there. So yeah, I apologize for going on at length about the CPR, but I found that a fascinating thing to do. I shouldn't have gone on quite as long, but now it's your turn. You can ask me any questions you want to.
I have one question, and that's
Yes, Gary?
about, yes, Gary. I was wondering if there's a way to take an old minutes that we produce manually and create a template for the prompt.
Yeah, well, take that prompt I'm going to give you and use it and see how it comes out, and then modify that prompt to fit. It's the prompt is going to be totally editable. It's like a Word document. And when you've got the prompt the way you like it, you copy it and put it into the prompt each time you want to use it. That was it's a good question.
When I asked you about this, how that thing went to the studio, you just kind of drug it over there, but there were a whole bunch of other things already there. How did they get there, or how did they get created?
Oh, I've been creating lots of different things as tests. The way I learn is by trying it. So what I have done is, let's see if I can go back and pull that one up for you. Um, let's see. Where would be I'm trying to find a good one. Would be best there. I think that'll do. Okay. You see this?
Yes.
Okay. When I had done the save to note, it sent some stuff over into the right-hand column, right?
Right.
Okay. So how do we go back and see you said there was a lot of stuff there. Well, there's only one thing now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So go back, you see up here, it says studio and note. At the moment, this is the note I sent it. If I go back and click on studio, I've got these choices. And then down at the bottom, you're asking me, where did these come from, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I can go to, let me just take this single one over here on the left as my example. If I say I want a report, one of the things it does is gives you 8 different choices. The create your own is the one I've been demonstrating. This is where you put your own prompt in. Choose the language English, describe the report you want. Just say, summarize the source. And then you come over to generate down at the bottom right-hand corner. And what happens? Do you see this? The thing was going around reports, right? And
Yeah.
now it's saying I'm generating a report based on one source. And it takes a little while, a few, 20, 30 seconds, whatever, because it's doing a lot of work. If you go up here and do a video overview, for example, you can create a 1 or 2 minute video of what of your source with the voiceover, and that can take 10 or 20 minutes because it's actually a lot of work going on in the background. So, okay, that has finished. See, it's not, and I've created my own. If I click on it, it's hands-only response. This is what I've just created. All of that. All from that simple prompt. If you don't like it, you can say bad report, or you can say good report. And by doing that, you're teaching the AI some things you don't like, or if it's a good report, let's click on that. And they say, we'd love to know what you think. I don't normally do that. Now, when you've just created a new thing like this one I've just done, up at the top of here, we have some choices. If I want to share it, I can click on it and say, who do I want to share it to? I can come down here. So what I would do would be say notebook access, anybody with a link. I don't use public because if you go public, then you're saying to Notebook, you can use this any way you like. You can use it for training the AI. So I would go anybody with a link, and then I can share it with you online. If we come to this symbol you should be looking for every time, I think, is copy the content with formatting. So you just click on it. It says copied to clipboard. Then you can put it wherever you like. The 3 dots, export to docs, export to sheets, or delete. And so if I click on export to docs, it goes to Google Docs directly. You don't need to take the copy and then paste it. So this is copy and paste. This one over here, if you use Google Docs, goes straight in. If it was something that was more of a list, export to Google Sheets, which is their Excel equivalent. Okay, so let me come off there. Did that answer that question okay?
Yes.
Rick, you had a question.
Yes, Derek, very, very well done. I guess the question I had, and it's probably self-evident, one of the things I'm really interested in is promotion, and I can see the same tool that you could use to say recap the speaker's presentation from the last meeting that could go into the newsletter, and also that same thing for promotion for releases for newspapers or periodicals or whatever, if you want to use that as a promotion tool. That's what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah, exactly. And if I go back to, which one was I showing you? Was it this one? Sorry, wrong one. If I go back and find the, yes, this one here. This is the report I've just created, so that's why it says studio and report. This is what they call breadcrumbs, I think. If I go back to studio, I've got some choices. And if I go to reports, one of the things that's automatically done is you can have a blog post, which is, you can put that up on a website very quickly. Briefing doc is just a short overview. And you've got some other choices. The one I've usually done is create your own. So if you wanted to create something for a specific purpose, Rick, instead of using that long prompt, you would use a different prompt and it would just come up and give it to you just what you wanted.
Hey, Derek?
Yes?
There was a question and Michael brought up, he's saying storage space. These files, some of these are huge, mega millions.
Yeah.
How much storage do you need in whether you're using your laptop or some other desktop? What's recommended to do these things?
Well, my Mac Mini is 16 gig of RAM, which is pretty small these days, and I have no problem. I've got a what is it? I think it's a 520 gig solid state drive. And beyond that, I've got 16, I've got tons and tons of accessory storage. I've not had any problem whatsoever. But what I do is I clean up. If I've got too many big files, audio files, well, audio files aren't the problem. Normally it's the video files. They are, let's see, an audio file is roughly 1 megabyte a minute. That's a very rough. It depends on the complexity, I think, of the recording. And for this meeting, we've done just over an hour. I'm going to expect probably 50 or 60 megabytes for the audio track, which isn't very big really for memory. So I don't have any problem with storage. Does that answer the question okay? Leo?
Yeah, quick question. When you're recording, it just reminded me, I just got like spam calls and notifications. What do we do about that?
If you've got a phone, you mean, and you're recording a meeting?
Correct.
What I would do is put it in airplane mode.
Okay. Thank you.
Because if somebody does call, it does screw up the record. It may or may not screw up the recording. It hasn't happened to me yet, but it will.
Okay.
John, maybe back to you.
Yeah, one more follow-up question. Michael said, I guess he asked about the Google account the issue he's having is signing into Google account required to use the Gemini notebook. I guess he's having some difficulty with logging into the Google and doing this. So what do we do here?
What I found the first time I did it to get into Notebook, I typed in notebook.google.com, and the trouble is it's been so long since I came in with an absolutely clean name. When I log in, it just pops up for me automatically. But if you go to, I guess if you have a problem, just go to google.com and sign in, create an account. And once you've done that, when you go to do notebook.google.com, it'll say sign in. And I found once I've signed in once, it comes back to me automatically. So it should just be, yeah, I've not had a problem with that at all. The same with
maybe I should clarify my question more.
Okay, Michael.
I have a Gmail account that I don't use very often.
Yep.
And I started getting messages that said, you've run out of space in your Google storage. You need to buy more storage or get rid of stuff. And I haven't really put any stuff in there, but it's filled up with spam and all kinds of stuff, and your Gmail is no longer working because it's run out of space. So the question is using Gemini Notebook require space in whatever Google account Google is looking at? Or is it a standalone thing that, I've got plenty of space on my computer and stuff.
Yeah.
But is this requiring the passage of the storage of the files through Google where you have to have, a certain amount of gigabytes or megabytes capacity there?
I don't actually know a proper answer to that, but I'm going to hazard a guess. Provided you can log in to, and I'm sure, did you try notebook.google.com?
No, I haven't tried this at all yet. This is the first I've heard about it. But I can log into my Gmail account and it'll say you can't that Gmail's not going to work because you don't have any file space left. Upgrade your storage plan. Blah blah.
Okay,
blah.
Got it. Okay, so when you log into Gmail and it says you've got no space, don't worry. Over on the top right-hand side of the screen, when you're logged in, you're going to see a 3x3 matrix of dots.
Okay.
If you click on that, I don't think I can show you directly, but when you click on that, you'll see a drop-down menu and a whole ton of things pop up. Let me see if I can do that.
While you're doing that, I want to just make a slight comment. I have had that same problem, and it turns out that every picture I ever took on my phone gets uploaded to this storage space he's talking about. So I end up having to delete all of those pictures, and then I had lots of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the thing I worry about is, okay, I'm trying to use this and whatever's happening elsewhere, like that or spam messages or anything else is filling it up as fast as you could bind more storage. I don't really know how to control or, kind of throttle back what gets put into that Google storage. So I was just wondering if Gemini Notebook is part of that system that I have to make space for it, or it's an independent app where, okay, I got stuff on my computer and I can use it on my computer. Don't worry about this Google stuff.
Sorry. I believe it's independent because you're working in the cloud, basically. So when you're saving, all that stuff I showed you being saved is in the cloud, so it's not going to worry how much Google memory you've got there. That's my belief.
Do you have a Google Cloud account that has a lot of storage that that's what it's using, or is it an amorphous cloud disassociated from you?
Uh, sorry, there's going to have to be two answers to that question. To get the use I've been getting, I've paid extra for storage for my photographs. So that's one side of it. But I think that is totally independent of what I'm doing with Notebook and everything else. To give you an example, I've got probably 50 notebooks running saved at the moment. Some of them have got as many as 50 or 60 sources, many of which are audio files and or video files. So I've got a ton of memory being used, and it doesn't show up on my memory account at all. So to my knowledge, it's in the cloud.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but I'm pretty sure it's independent.
I have a question.
Sure. That's Russell.
Yes. You didn't discuss on how you upload the recording to Gemini. I don't think, anyway. Otherwise, I recorded it on my phone. Now I need to put it on my computer. Is it hardwired or what?
From the phone, I'm a hybrid user. I've got an Android phone and I'm using a Mac Mini. So what I do from my phone is I've got the file on the phone. One of the things you can choose on the phone is share.
Okay.
So I click on the share button, send it to myself as an email, and then I load that in directly. Now, if I was using an iPhone with my Mac Mini, I think it would be a hell of a lot simpler.
And okay, I understand now that I hadn't thought of that, but that'll definitely work. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Question: all of this information going to be on the state website?
Yes.
And so, the previous question, it would be helpful for me if we kind of have a simple step by step by step, do this, do this, do this kind of instructions. I'm not familiar with some of this stuff, and so step by step would be useful for me.
Okay, I'll post what I've created so far, Robert. Or do you call yourself Robert or Bob?
Either one.
Okay, but I'll call you Bob. It saves my voice a little bit.
Okay.
I'll post what I've got. If it's not detailed enough, if you'll do me a pleasure, point out the areas where you'd like to see more. I'll edit it to you until you know what it's good enough, right?
Yes.
And then I'll repost it.
Thank you very much.
We can work together and make a better thing from that. Yeah.
Okay, Derek, I think we're right at that time. I want to thank you for the presentation. And again, when do you think the presentation will be on our site to people to review?
There's already some parts of it are on the site. The easy one to do is putting my PowerPoint show on the site. I'm going to send a copy to Alan Baker today. And when he's able to put it up, he'll do it. If I take the notes from the meeting and put them up as an illustration of what went on, I have to download the audio file, then I have to work on it. And I've got some stuff to do most of the rest of the day. So I'd say by Monday, probably the whole lot will be up there, but certainly the PowerPoint will be up there, I hope, today.
And what do we look for? A1 to create notes or A1 to create minutes?
Let's see. I'm going to go and have a quick look at sirinc.org. And I'm just looking to see if Alan's put something there. I'll ask Alan to put a link on the front page. So when you go to sirinc.org, there will be a link there to do it for you. Otherwise, he did send me the link. Hang on one second. I'll go in and ask what it was. I have to find his email. Alan. It's a very simple link, if I remember correctly. Link to workshop. 2026 workshops page. So let me look. It's under 2026 training. What I'll do, Control C, come back to Zoom, and I'll put this up as a chat. If I put this in here. Okay, I've put the link in the chat. So if you click on the chat button and look over there, you'll see https://sirinc.org/2026 training. And that'll put you straight in there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Derek. Well, thank you very much again. I want to thank everyone for their attendance.
Thank you.
today.
Yeah, anybody got any questions? Don't hesitate. Send me a question. I'll try and answer it.
Okay, very
Okay,
good.
thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks all
everyone.
for attending.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll cut off the recording.